work it, boy watch me work it. Slide down my pole, watch me spin it and twerk it. Hi loves, what's up? It's me, Audra, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, I'm not sure how you got here, but certainly I'm glad you came. And if you are new here, well, you're in for a treat. All right, if you enjoy chaotic, frenetic energy, you like beauty, you like horror, and a little bit of commentary thrown in between, then I suggest you go on ahead and subscribe for the low, low price of $0. I will tell you a random fact about myself, and today's random fact is, up until I got Beau Bear, I used to sleep with a teddy bear that my mother gave me. Part of that is because Beau ate it. Moving on, here are my socials. I appreciate each and every one of you who show up and are there, and I am always sorry that I miss some of y'all's messages and things like that, because one, I'm one person, but two, you know, depression. But today is an update. I'm very, very excited. So what are we here with today, Audra? Well, today is a bit of a roasty day. Maybe it's roasty. I don't know. It could be controversial, depending on who you ask. But what we're going to talk about today are eyeshadow palettes that I'm really glad I did not buy. I know, but somebody has to do it, and it may as well be me. All right, so to get this party started, before I even go into the palettes, remember, I cannot like something, and you can love it. And we can still be friends. Also, I can love something and you can not like it, still be friends. And finally, we can love or hate the same things, and it's fantastic. We're definitely friends. Okay, here we go. First and foremost, I have notes. Again, you listen, loves. I'm getting professional. I'm making notes. I have a book here. I have a book of notes. I'm doing it. Listen, I'm very proud of myself. I know you're like, can you get into it? It's been a few minutes. Yes, I'm going to. There's no reason to rush me. Jeez, I'm a Taurus. I gotta take my time. All right, palette number one, and these are in no particular order, not like from worst to least or anything like that. The suspense is Urban Decay Stone. The Urban Decay Stone palette looked like it was intriguing. Like in my mind, I was like, I might like you, girl. We might be friends. We might do things. However, considering the large amount of independent shimmers that I buy, oof, I saw Britt Clark try on the palette, and while it looked gorgeous on her, the shimmers just weren't giving me like the love that I need, the ka-cha that I need, the ka-ka that I need. So I decided to go ahead and pass on that. I thought it looked very beautiful on her, but I am one of those folks that you have to be able to see my eyes from space. For instance, in the darkness when I'm walking in the street and like you turn on, your car is coming and the lights are on me, I want this to be the reflective thing that you see. You're like, oh, there's a person there. Maybe it's an alien, you don't know. But I didn't feel like the Urban Decay Stone palette was giving me that, and for that reason, that is one of the palettes I'm glad I didn't buy. That was a lot of weird hand movement. So the next palette I'm gonna talk about, I know it's gonna bring me all the hate in the world, and I'm so sorry. RBK as a person, fantastic, phenomenal, great. I am glad I did not buy the RBK and Pure collaboration palette. It's all right. I'm glad because, one, I would not have a lot of use for the neutral side, for me personally. I just wouldn't have a ton of use for that. Even in my go back to regular working world, I'm really not gonna be that person. I'm a bird of paradise, and I'm gonna caca. You gotta let me caca, you know, and I can't do that with a whole side that I'm not gonna use. So I realized very early, like there was an entire side of that palette I was just really not gonna use, and I wasn't gonna spend a lot of time trying to dismantle it and give my mom all the stuff that I didn't like. And also later on down the line, all of the chaos trying to buy the palette, I'm really glad I wasn't interested in purchasing it. I think the rainbow side looked fun, But again, I didn't need the other side, and the purchase mess was just a lot. And I know that that's not her fault, but I'm really glad I didn't. I generally don't like to do those anyway often because I can't get excited if it's too hard for me to purchase it. And if it was too hard for me to purchase it, by the time I get it, I'm resentful. And also, I'm just never sure about Pure's formula. And I also saw the Fancy Faced Tina, she was having some troubles with blending it and all of that. So I'm really glad I didn't pick that palette up. For those of you who got it and love it, congratulations. And if you didn't, sorry. I don't either. Eye drops. All right, if I look like I'm weeping, it's because I had to put eye drops in my dry old lady eyes.
Resident old bitch of YouTube.
All right, the third palette I'm really excited that I did not purchase is the ORGY palette from Jeffree Star Cosmetics. All other things aside, which is a lot, to be honest. That palette was a whole lot of boring. Oh, like so much boring. It went from like boring, more boring, extra boring. The names, definitely not for me. And listen, I am a highly evolved, fun-loving, non-brutish person. There's a lot I will share, as you have all obviously discovered. But when I'm out somewhere and a nice old Texan lady is like, oh my goodness, that's a lovely eyeshadow you have on, what is it? And I have to say, glory hole, that's a little awkward. It just really was a very ashy. This is the definition of an ashy palette. All of the shades, even when you looked in the swatches on richer skin tones, you could definitely see that it just really did not complement a richer skin tone. And I just felt like it was not exciting. I feel like there were other palettes of his that were very exciting. Even though I would not purchase them, I thought that they were exciting and good launches for him. I just felt like this was not it, and I wasn't into it. And I just thought it was a very unattractive palette, and it just didn't. I feel like it could have been 9 shades, a 9 pan, and it would have been fine-ish. Still boring, but fine. And that's it. It was not. If you wanted to put boring on top of boring and then put it into a boring sandwich, that is what that palette was for me. And it was just not, it wasn't it. And it will never be it. Also the mini, which is funny. I thought that the mini part was like interesting and fun, but then there's reports coming out that the payoff wasn't great for a lot of people. So that's just a space that I'm glad I wasn't in. And I feel like that keeps happening with them lately, like I don't know. So I'm just really glad that I did not pick any of that up because it's not for me. So the less said the better. Moving on to number 4. I am actually, and it hurts my heart to say this, like it really, oh, it hurts my feelings to say this, but I'm glad I didn't buy the Colored Rain Juicy eyeshadow palette. Tears done. Okay, I'm really happy that I did not buy that one. I think that when I looked at it, I kept looking at it several times, and while some of the shades jumped out at me, overall the story wasn't it for me, and I just didn't feel like that was something I had to have in my collection. And I love Colored Rain, y'all know, but I just didn't feel like this fit what I wanted, and it wasn't different enough, in my opinion, from the Vivid Pigments palette for me to pick this one up as well. And one of the things I'm always trying to do, and I'm not always successful, but especially when it comes to eyeshadow palettes specifically, I'm trying to be more careful about what I pick up because I don't want to have 75 of the very same palette, if that makes sense. So I just felt like this palette wasn't it for me, and there are some issues apparently with trying to blend it. A lot of people are having difficulty with, difficulty with it. See? Lorraine came and she snatched my throat, and I apologize, Lorraine, I apologize. Anyway, there were some folks having some difficulties with it. Emily Han had troubles with it. Sincerely Alex, I believe, may have had troubles with it, and if I'm wrong, Alex, let me know. Britt Clark, again, had some issues with trying to get that puppy to work. I believe Karen Harris did as well. So these were, some issues, and I'm glad I ended up not picking that one up. Also, the price point was a little, I'm not gonna say it's bad on her part, it was just high for me for what that was. Not, let me figure out a better way to phrase this. It was high for me to pay for a palette that I wasn't absolutely 100% wanting. So if it had been 100%, I wouldn't have cared about the price. Does that make sense? Because I feel like sometimes, especially with Black-owned brands, we do get into a little bit of a price war where we'll say that it's too expensive, but we don't say anything about some other palettes that are very expensive. My whole thing about price is I will pay it if I love it and it doesn't bother me, but this I didn't love. So that's that. That was a lot of explaining. I have like a friend growing on my face right here, and it's just, anyways. The fifth palette I am really glad that I did not pick up is, listen, don't come for me on this, the Natasha Denona Glam palette. Okay, first of all, just look at me. Okay, now that you've looked, it's not my aesthetic in any way, shape, or form. At all. At all. Controversy with the shade names aside, it is completely just not my aesthetic. I am a bright flying bird of paradise. I am a peacock. I'm an exotic bird. Caw-caw! And this was as basic as I could get. And I don't know what I would do with that at all. Also, my other issue with this palette, to be honest, aside from it not being my aesthetic, is it feels very much like a 1 to 2 look palette, and I'm not really willing to pay that much for a palette that's gonna yield me 1 or 2 looks. It falls into that same category, please don't come get me, please don't, but it falls into that same category of the Urban Decay Naked Heat palette, which you could literally get, like, it was just the same look over and over and over and over again, like slightly darker, slightly lighter, but it was the same look no matter what you did, which is why I decluttered that palette. And I felt like the Natasha Denona Glam palette was gonna do that for me, and I just really wasn't interested in doing that to myself. Be like, do I want a smoky eye or like a smoky eye? Do I want a smoky eye or do I want like a smoky eye? Do I want like a smoky beige eye or do I want a smoky beige eye? Do you see what I'm saying? So it wasn't for me. I'm really happy that I didn't pick it up. For everybody who did, I'm really happy for you. I hope you love it, but it just was not, it was not my aesthetic. And I felt terrible because so many people were tagging me in it on Twitter, and I was just like, I didn't know what to say. I was like, baby, it's not for me. Like, I'm bougie enough, but like it's not for me. And I currently have the Natasha Denona Sun palette. I haven't even used it. Like, I haven't even touched it. It was gifted to me, and I still haven't. I gotta try it. You know, because one of them met its end, and when I was trying to show you my eyeshadow palettes, it flopped off and went on about its death. But I don't know if Natasha Denona is for me. I think for my Patreon, I might try to do a tutorial. I can't stop laughing. I'm so sorry, because I'm realizing I've had this palette since, like, I feel like the beginning of the pandemic. Anywho, next up, I'm really glad that I did not buy the NikkieTutorials and Beauty Bay collaboration. Not for any reason other than I just feel like it was a few colors that popped out to me. I love, love, love the packaging. It's absolutely gorgeous. That's one thing that I did love, but I didn't want to buy it for the packaging. And in all honesty, I just don't think that that one was gonna be for me. I needed to see something new and interesting, and I know, there's only so much that you can do with makeup. Like, everything's basically been done. I think by doing the packaging the way that she did, it's absolutely stunning. But the inside to me left a little to be desired, and sometimes I just feel like, and I've said this before, I either want you to be balls out all the way, like, yes girl, yes, with color, or like not, like just do the pop of blue like everybody else. Like, I don't know what else to say in that regard, but it has become very difficult because I feel like we're so close with a lot of palettes, with just having like a fun, brightly colored palette, and then I just feel like we just randomly throw in beiges here and there, and I don't need them. And I feel like if you have 3 eyeshadow palettes, you have all the beige that you need. You really do. So I just feel like with these palettes, a lot of times it's like, can we just be colorful and bright and fun, or can we just like be basic? And like there's nothing wrong with either one. Like being basic, there's nothing wrong with being basic. Hey, I like to have a basic bitch palette every once in a while as well. But if we're gonna use color, can we just use color? That's all I wanted. I just really wanted it to be just like BAM! All right, the next palette I'm really happy I did not buy is the Too Faced Pumpkin palette.
Hey, long time no see. Listen, I'm aware that you can't currently buy this and it's not available until the 18th, but I'm already pre-glad that I'm not buying it. Okay? And you could do an anti-haul, Audra. You could. You know what? I do what I want here. I do what I want. All right, back to the video.
Again, this one just felt like it was so close but so far, and Emily is one of those people who did let me know like, hey, guess what, there are purple pumpkins, and I was like, girl, what? And she was like, yes. So I just feel like this was not a fun palette for me. I don't care if it smells like pumpkins. Pumpkins really is not my thing. I don't like the smell of pumpkin. I don't like pumpkin spice. I don't like pumpkin spice anything. I don't even like pumpkin pie, to be honest. I like pumpkin seeds. You know, the roasted pumpkin seeds, those are bomb. I'll punch a lot of people to get those, but like I don't like pumpkin stuff. It's not my thing. So I'm glad I didn't get it, because I feel like I would have been just getting it literally for the views, and my reality would be like, first, the smell of it would most likely make me sick, and two, it's just not a super exciting palette for me. I feel like it's just not, again, not my aesthetic, but it doesn't mean like, you know, I can be basic-ish. I can be like more toned down. I can. I'm gonna try. Listen, I'm gonna try one time again. I'm gonna try to do old me, old toned down me. I feel like that was a lie. Okay. The 8th palette that I'm glad I did not purchase is the Kiwi palette. There's several reasons why, but mostly it is the packaging. My goddess, I don't know who decided to make that packaging. There's tons of wasted space on the palette. It's huge. You cannot store it. I felt like the shades were really pretty, and if it wasn't for the fact that that packaging was unwieldy, that may have been a palette that made it into my collection. I liked all the different greens, and I love how they flowed together. They swatched fairly well. I thought it would be fun. But that packaging was just too much. Like, who can we please stop with the weird novelty packaging? And by that I mean, I don't mind if you want to have something fun, but could you also make it to where I can store it? Like circles, where do I put a circle? Where do you put a circle? Where do you put a circular palette? So that's the thing. I just did not like that aspect of it at all. It was just too much for me. And again, all the wasted space, they really could have just thrown in some more shades, more shimmers, and had some more fun with it. And they didn't. So that's sad. All right, we're now to number 9, which of course there are 9 because I don't like even numbers. So if I found 8 palettes, then I have to find a 9th one. So that's where we are. We're at number 9, and that is the Kendall and Kylie palette. First of all, can I just say that the packaging was really weird? Like, they're supposed to be sisters, and that did not look like a sisterly, that didn't look sisterly. Do you know what I'm saying? It looked very West Virginia. So the thing is, I just did not, it's just another boring-y, like if you wanted that palette, I feel like you could have gotten something like that just from ColourPop. If that's what you were looking at and you like that color scheme, get it from ColourPop. As I was saying before we were so rudely interrupted by spirits, if you wanted a palette like that, I think that you could have found the same color scheme with ColourPop and been just as happy without having had spent all of that money. And again, that's another one where the packaging just really turned me off. Like, the outside of it is just them CFing, and it just looked gross, you know? I just didn't like it. You remember, it gives me that Angelina Jolie and her brother vibes. Remember that? Remember that? Are you old enough? Anyway, that is it. Those are the 9 palettes. I am super happy that I did not purchase. I hope I didn't sound like roasty and mean, and hope that for the most part, ooh, the lights just dimmed a bit, that I was giving you some information that maybe if you thought maybe you should have bought one of these palettes and you were on the fence, hopefully this helped you. Hopefully I didn't offend you, and I hope we had some fun. All right, huge shout out to my patrons. Yeah, sorry, that took a little weird turn because Bo's looking at me because I think he's got a dump truck. So up until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Please remember that it costs $0 to be kind, like literally no money. Ooh, he's licking my armpit. And until next time, deuces! What the fuck was that? Did you hear that boy? Okay. We gonna roast him today. Why you gotta be on that fuck shit, eyes? Nope. You gotta whirl your head around so you don't fuck up your makeup. Did you see my dance, Bo Bear? Like, it was pretty intense. You currently seem nonplussed. Push it forward. Okay. Rude. Bo Bear. All right, you got a dump truck? He's got a dump truck.